Jon Jones continues to take shots at Tom Aspinall without any clear reason, all while stirring up drama with the UFC and spending time overseas in Thailand. Meanwhile, the MMA world has been buzzing with intense reactions to his actions.
In his recent appearance on Demetrius Johnson's YouTube channel, it says, "I've been inactive for nearly a year, and I'm just being told to wait. I don't care about fighting Jon Jones. I just want to be the undisputed champion." Jon left a comment saying, "Shut your mouth and do as you're told."
I see quite a few people in here calling me a duck. I'm a duck. Call me a duck. Call me a chicken. Call me a goat. Call me a dog. I'm not in high school anymore, guys.
You are ducking. You're ducking the opportunity. You're taking that opportunity away from someone else. You are robbing someone else of the same opportunity and the same dream that you have already realized and lived. That is selfish. That's not how the game works. And so it's on the UFC to make the call. Make the call. And you know what? They may have already made the call. And it may be happening at MSG, and we're all being, we're all being taken for a ride here. But honestly, if that is the case, come out and say it. And please tell Tom Aspinall, for the love of God, because by the time that fight happens, if it does happen on that day, it's going to be a year. We're approaching a year since his last fight, and that fight lasted 60 seconds. It is a travesty. It is a crime what is happening to Tom Aspinall in the prime of his life, in the prime of his career. Give up the belt or fight. That's it. Defend or vacate. That's it. It's great. We're all happy for you. I love the fact that you turned your life around. Truly. Trust me, I was there. We did the walk and talk in Albuquerque. I covered it all. It actually warms my heart. But you got to keep the train rolling along.
Right now, it seems like Jon is focused on everything but the one thing that truly counts: getting into the octagon and facing Tom Aspinall.
And then the other video that I saw today is him with an ungodly amount of men in a pool. One of the guys is, he's like behind Jon, and he's got him wrapped up in this, body lock, and he's just like playing around with Jon like Jon is a 5-year-old child, and Jon is just going along with it. It just makes you think.
As the rest of the heavyweight division stands in limbo, Jon keeps dropping mysterious tweets, throwing low-key shots on social media, and vaguely hinting at his so-called legacy.
Here's Randy Brown fan responding to him saying, "Enjoying your last days as champ before being stripped, I see, Jon?" Jon quote tweets that and says, "Stripped? LOL. Do I come across as the type of person who cares about things like that? I told the UFC my plans a long time ago. I have no clue why they haven't shared them with you guys yet." I take that tweet and I send it to the UFC. I send it to Hunter Campbell. I send it to Dana White. And I say, all right, so share the plans with us. He told you his plans. He told you his intentions. Now tell us. Because either one of you is lying at this point. Either Jon didn't tell them his plans, or the UFC is not telling their plans.
Yet he keeps sidestepping the one matchup that could truly cement his legacy. On the other hand, Aspinall remains laser-focused, training hard, staying in peak condition, and handling his role as interim champ exactly the way a true contender should.
This is the only sport in the world you can have somebody hold your career back.
Yep. I've been almost a year inactive with no prospects of anything. Just be ready, and we'll just let you know.
Yeah.
And that's kind of difficult, like mentally, to...
Oh, yeah.
This is the fight against Jon Jones, like, not... The fight is another thing.
Yeah.
This is the tricky bit where I really have to stay switched on, stay motivated, and I'm trying my best. It's tough. As you said a minute ago, no one really knows what's going on behind the scenes apart from me.
Exactly. You're in the office cooking.
I train all the time anyway. Just because I've not got a fight doesn't mean I don't train. Like, I honestly can see Jon's point of view. I get it. I get it. It's just about the title for me. I just want the title, that's it. Does nothing else really matter. So
you're like, let me do my thing, let me fight.
I just want to fight.
And I think that's the respectful way to go about it. It's like, you don't care if it's Jon, and it's no disrespect to Jon, it's no disrespect to anybody out there. You're just trying to fight. I just want to fight.
Still, the UFC has yet to book the fight, and the growing frustration isn't just hitting Aspinall, it's spreading throughout the entire MMA community.
He's holding up the division, okay? Tom Aspinall, the interim champion, has been the interim champ for 70% of Jon Jones's reign. They need to fight one another. And what the F is going on? Why isn't this fight scheduled? And now, of course, we've seen all this stuff coming out about Jon Jones. He's not sure. He's tweeting. He might be retired. He might not be retired. He's living his best life. I mean, that's all well and good. Of course, he's living his best life. He's had a tremendously successful life. He's one of the greatest fighters the world's ever seen, okay? And with that, he's made a tremendous amount of money. Of course, you're living a good life, but as the heavyweight champion of the world, you have a debt, you have an obligation to the fighters, to the fans, to the rest of the division, to your bloody self to prove that you are the undisputed champion of the world. He's not the undisputed champ because there's an interim champion. And I'm not saying this as someone trying to shit on Jon Jones. No, this is just the situation.
At this stage, fans aren't even wondering when Jon will return. They're beginning to doubt whether he ever planned to step back into the cage at all. Holding on to the title means nothing if you won't defend it, especially when the toughest and most rightful contender is already waiting in the wings.
He changes nothing if I beat him. Beating Tom is just like beating Cyril Gane. Has a whole country behind him. He's hot right now. What happens to me after I beat him? Nothing changes for me. I'm not ducking Tom Aspinall. The Tom narrative came out of nowhere. He won a belt and now suddenly I'm ducking him. I've never had negotiations to even fight him, if this makes sense. Okay, so I feel like the narratives have been created that just truly aren't there. You can't duck a man that you were never scheduled to fight. It's like saying you got turned down by a girl who you never even hit on. You know what I'm saying? It's like me and Dana and Hunter have never sat down and talked about Tom Aspinall. He's never been on my radar. I mean, just a moment ago, it was him and Sergey that was fighting. And Sergey could be in this position right now, and I would still be in the same place. I've beat people my whole career, and once I beat them, like the show just goes on. Like I get that Tom is an exciting fighter. I get that finally, after 16 years, we found somebody who's 7 years younger than me and 30 pounds bigger than me. Like, we finally found someone who may give me a great challenge. And everyone wants to see it so bad. But for me, it's like, what is it? What's in it for me? He changes nothing if I beat him.
From Jon's perspective, the message couldn't be more obvious. He's comfortable, globe-trotting, training on his own terms, staying in shape, and clearly enjoying the good life. He's taken out legends, accomplished feats most fighters only fantasize about. So in his eyes, why put all of that on the line, his legacy, his status, his place in history, just to face a younger, hungrier contender who hasn't come close to matching his resume?
And of course, it's been pretty interesting, all the stuff that Jon Jones has been saying to the media this week, and I'm sure there's more to come, but check out these.
You're beating guys who aren't even champions and you consider yourself a champion. He's not a champion.
So Jon said I need to fight more champions, but this is the problem I've got. Jon is the champion and he won't fight me. And he says that he won't fight me because it's too much of a gamble.
Aspinall to me is no difference than an Owen St. Prude or Dominic Reyes or Anthony Smith, like just another up and comer that's exciting right now. And I'm not into gambling my legacy for what's exciting.
And Jon, if you're not into gambling your legacy, that to me sounds like you're scared of losing against me.
In Jon's eyes, Tom Aspinall might be skilled, but he lacks the track record. He hasn't gone deep into championship rounds or faced real adversity under the brightest lights. From Jon's point of view, taking that fight might seem like more risk than it's worth.
Is Jon Jones scared to fight you?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, the thing with Jon is conning the public, man.
Whoa. And Logan Paul, it's his favorite fighter.
Yeah. Oh, is it really? Well, yeah. Listen.
I mean, he's definitely top three. He's definitely top three.
Absolutely. I'm not disputing that he's an amazing fighter. I think the fact that he didn't want to fight Ngannou for 3 years, and now he's not wanting to fight me for over a year. And he just, the way he manipulates the media and the public is super smart. I'm not taking anything away from him. But do I think he's scared to take the tough fights at this stage in his career? Absolutely.
Can you understand that?
Absolutely. Yeah, I can.
You can empathize with that?
I respect it. But if you're going to ask me the straight up question, Is Jon Jones afraid to fight me? The honest answer would be yes.
And that's exactly why the pressure won't let up. Jon's focused on guarding his legacy, while Tom Aspinall is out here actively chasing greatness, trying to carve out his own right now.
An idea. He was the one who delayed till Francis was out the fucking door. He could have fought Francis a long time ago. If he'd just taken the chance of going up the heavyweight earlier, we could have had him versus a prime Cain Velasquez. Cain Velasquez was 240. Jon Jones is 260, 265. And you're telling me Cain Velasquez was too big for him? What a load of shit. Stipe Miocic could have fought him in his prime, another one who was no bigger than Jon Jones. So when he's giving it the big and being like, oh, well, people always think someone's going to come and dethrone me. And yeah, I get the narrative. That was the way at light heavyweight. There was always that next guy coming up. But you ain't never fought an animal like Tom Aspinall, who is as quick on his feet, who has the speed that he does at 260 pounds, who has the heavy hands that he does. You have never been in there with a beast like that. It's just not happened. I'm not saying that means Aspinall wins, but for people to do the Tyson Fury thing of going, oh, well, he's always won, so therefore he always will win.
Jon Jones listening to this right now, what is your message to the man?
I don't have a message. I've had enough. Let me fight. Somebody. I'm not bothered who it is. Just let me fight.
495 days you've been the interim champ. How much longer are you willing to wait?
I just want to fight somebody. I'm a professional fighter and I want to fight somebody. I'm overweighting, to be honest. But whoever wants it, whether that's Jon Jones or somebody else, I will fight somebody sometime soon.
Tom isn't looking for favors. He's demanding the opportunity he's rightfully earned. He's been steamrolling top-tier opponents in under a round, dispatching every name the UFC throws at him, all while keeping his head down and avoiding any unnecessary drama. Now, even respected analysts are weighing in. Ariel Helwani went so far as to call the whole situation embarrassing, pointing out that the UFC has let Jon Jones hold up the division for far too long.
Jon, it's not about you. It's not about your life. It's not about your story. If you want to enjoy your life, if you want to be a part of a reality show, if you want to take that money and delay things and hold someone else's dreams back from becoming a reality, that is ducking. That is ducking, because there is a time-honored tradition in this business, in the sport, in combat sports, in fight sports, in sports period, that the whole thing has to move along. It's not about your story. Your story is great and you're living your best life, great. Get rid of that belt. If you want to do that, great. No one will begrudge you. Everyone thinks you've done enough. You've earned enough. You've proven enough. Now allow someone else to have that same story. Allow someone else to write that same story. You are holding him back. You are holding back not only Tom Aspinall, but the rest of the division. So yes, you're missing the point. This isn't about you. It's about the belt.
Michael Bisping has pointed out that, stylistically, Aspinall poses a serious threat to Jon. His explosive speed and pinpoint accuracy when closing the gap could completely shift the momentum in a potential matchup.
Jones is the heavyweight champion. He's an incredible fighter. You know, he's incredible. He's one of the greatest of all time. I don't think he can hold a candle to Tom. I think Tom will do the same thing to Jon Jones as what he did to Marcin Tybura. I don't think there's anyone that can stop Tom Aspinall. He's that good. He's that switched on. And he's just a great guy as well. Petition. The people have spoken. They have started a petition and it's on 17,000 votes. 17,000 people in the MMA community so far in a very short amount of time are all saying strip Jon Jones. And one of those people is Tom Aspinall's former opponent, Curtis Blades. He said, listen, without a doubt, they should be stripping Jon Jones. And everyone is starting to get a little bit tired of it. And now Jon Jones is even tweeting and alluding that maybe the fight's not even going to go down. Let's just take a look at the Twitter feed of Jon Jones. He says, I've been out here in Thailand, I'm enjoying life, I'm stuffing my face every day, and I swear I'm losing weight. Yeah, because the food's not full of shit and chemicals. That's why. Someone says you should be stripped. He says, stripped? Low. Do I come across as the type of person who cares about things like that? Well, if you don't care, do the right thing. Relinquish the belt.
Even Chael Sonnen, typically one of Jon Jones' biggest supporters, acknowledged that this isn't a fight Jon can just breeze through. In fact, it's the kind of test that could reveal whether he's still the same elite competitor he once was.
It wasn't a perfect fight by Tom. Curtis was actually fundamentally doing some things a little bit better than Tom. And Tom is so powerful. One thing about Tom is these boys he's putting down, these are the big heavyweights. Tom's still touching these boys one time. Mike Tyson had a hard time putting down the heavyweights that were 240, 250, 260. 60s. These are the guys that Tom is touching one time. This is a shocking power, guys. When I'm thinking of a Tom versus Jon, I don't love the idea that Tom is getting guys out of here so quickly. In 3 years, Tom has been in the ring about 3 minutes. But the other side of it is, what are you going to do? How you going to stop him? Curtis Blades has a plan. He's as dangerous of a wrestler as the division has, and that plan did not make it out of the first round.
That being said, no one's denying Jon Jones is still a serious threat. His elite fight IQ, dominant grappling, and control in the clinch are tools that don't just fade with time. If this matchup ever becomes reality and Jon comes in focused and fully prepared, he's more than capable of giving Aspinall real trouble. His knack for slowing the pace, disrupting rhythm, and pulling out wins even when things aren't going his way, that's a level of veteran savvy Tom has yet to encounter. But until contracts are signed, all of this remains pure speculation. And as the weeks go by, Jon's silence is starting to feel less like mind games and more like outright avoidance. This situation has evolved beyond just one fight. It's now about an undisputed title collecting dust, a division left in limbo, and a top-tier fighter being robbed of the chance to prove he's #1. At this point, the pressure isn't just on Jon, it's on the UFC to act.
I think that, listen, Jon Jones definitely wants to fight. Just when and where is what we're working on now.
Do you feel confidence? I think you said Jon.
I'm very
confident
confident
on first
that fight happens. Yeah.
Where do we stand with that fight?
Everything you hear is bullshit until we say it.
So that fight is still the target for both men.
I've said it many times that that's the fight that we want to make this year. Jon Jones behind the scenes is not a guy that turns down fights.
Would you guarantee 100% we see that fight?
Yeah. I'll say 100%.
The spotlight's on, the tension is building, and it's only a matter of time before the UFC is forced to make a move. Either set the fight or take the title. Tom Aspinall isn't sitting back waiting for approval, he's coming for it all. If Jon Jones versus Aspinall ever gets booked, it won't just be another main event. It could become one of the most pivotal showdowns in UFC history with everything on the line. The division, the title, and Jon Jones's legacy.
Jon, in my opinion, if you look at his body of work over the last 15 years, he's like as close as you can get to perfection as possible. He's like 37, 38 years old, but not only that, he's got a million miles on the clock. So he's got a lot of damage on the body. He's took a lot of shots to the head. And that's not me saying anything negative about it. That's the reality of it. And I'm sure Jon Jones is aware of that. And he's fighting one of the most concussive punchers in UFC history. And I just think I can exploit it. Like, I think to get out the way of me for 25 minutes at this point in his career without getting hit once, and that's all I need is just one, I think that's going to be very difficult for anybody.
In terms of style, this matchup represents a true battle between generations. Jon Jones brings world-class grappling, masterful cage control, unorthodox striking, and a championship pedigree that few can match. He's survived 5-round battles, faced immense pressure, and consistently outmaneuvered elite opponents. What sets him apart is his calm under fire, his knack for exploiting the smallest weaknesses, and his talent for neutralizing his rival's strengths. Traits that have kept him at the top for more than 10 years.
I bet if he's weighing 215, he would fight Tom Aspinall better than him weighing 245 pounds. In his 205 frame, he could fight Tom Aspinall better than he'd fight him at that 250 because that's not his weight class. While he didn't last long with Cyril, he didn't look as fast. He carried more weight. Cyril just did some weird stuff. And Jon, you don't make mistakes against Jon.
Across the cage, Tom Aspinall brings a completely different kind of threat. Blazing speed, smooth movement, and explosive power rarely seen in the heavyweight ranks. He moves with the agility of a middleweight, reacts like a lightweight, and hits with the force of a freight train. That's exactly what makes this potential clash so intriguing. If Jon is able to close the distance, dictate the tempo, tie Tom up in the clinch, and lean on his wrestling, we might witness a vintage Jon Jones performance. Methodical, tactical, and suffocating. But if Aspinall finds his range early, connects cleanly, and forces Jon to keep up with his speed and footwork, we could be watching the torch pass. The end of one dominant era and the start of something new.
Jon Jones, one of the greatest of all time.
He's going to come back. He's going to fight Tom.
Yes. You don't think so? No? Really?
For what?
For glory.
He already has the glory.
Yeah, one more glory before the lights fade.
Yeah.
John's a conqueror.
He's the best of all time. No one can say the opposite of that. He's the best.
He's fucking terrifying.
The biggest unknown is whether this fight will actually happen. And if so, when? At the moment, Jon Jones is still in recovery mode, traveling the globe and dropping vague hints about what's next. Despite saying he's willing to come back, there's been no clear update on when or if that return will take place.
Yeah, it came out Jon Jones went 6 months to prepare for Aspinall.
I think that's fair. What do you feel about that?
It makes sense.
Where do you put your money?
I would not have bet against Jon, but I do think he should be an underdog in that fight.
Damn.
With each passing month, the gap between Jon Jones' legendary legacy and today's reality grows wider. Tom Aspinall is leveling up, entering his prime, and the longer this drags on, the more it feels like Jon is holding on to greatness without proving it in the cage. And that's what raises the stakes. Jon Jones isn't just another title holder. He's widely seen as the greatest fighter to ever do it. Undefeated in competition, champions left in his wake, and a career that spans 2 weight classes and over a decade of dominance. But all of that could hang in the balance, not just based on what he's done, but on what he chooses to do next. If he never steps in with Aspinall, that final chapter will always carry a question mark. And if he does and loses, the entire GOAT conversation could shift in an instant.
Aspinall's a freak. Even Francis, who's like the greatest, scariest power striker I've ever seen in the heavyweight division. No one's scarier than Francis. Francis does not move like Tom Aspinall. Tom Aspinall is significantly faster than every other heavyweight. But Jon has been used to fighting guys like Alexander Gustafsson, guys who are really fast at light heavyweight. So the speed is not going to be as much of an...
But if Jon returns, defeats Aspinall, and finishes his career on his own terms, he won't just preserve his legacy, he'll immortalize it. That's what makes this matchup so special. It's bigger than titles or rankings. It's about everything that defines the sport: legacy, dominance, timing, and high-stakes pressure. And whether this fight becomes reality or remains a dream, one thing is certain: if Jon Jones and Tom Aspinall ever step into the octagon together, the whole world will be watching.